Hi, Backyard Bee Builder here. Today is a nice day and I know I'm not going to get very many of these, but it's above 50 degrees and the wind's not blowing, so I know I can get into my hives today. And there's a couple hives that I've been watching and there's just not a whole lot of activity in them, and so I was getting a little bit worried and I wanted to peek in and make sure that they're doing okay, and to see if there's anything else that I need to do for them. So I thought I'd bring you guys along and see if we could see how these hives are doing. So typically I wouldn't recommend you do this in the winter time, but it's still pretty decent weather out here. And I really don't want to get very deep into my hives anyways, but I'm going to just take a peek. Depending on how deep I go will really depend on what the hive looks like once I kind of get in there. If you look here, this is the one I'm really worried about. There's a little bit of activity, but I see several dead bees here in the opening. And the last couple times I've checked up on this hive, there just really isn't a whole lot of stuff going on. Just for comparison, you can see that this, like my other hives, are really active. There's a lot of bees hanging out on the front doorstep. They're coming in and out, and there's a lot of stuff going on. Even the upper entrance is being well used. And so that's why I'm worried about my other hive, and that's why I'm going in. For beginning beekeepers, you want to make sure that when you're getting into a hive, this is the back of the hive. You want to get in from the side or the back, not from the front, because that'll block off the entrance and kind of get a traffic jam for the bees. So you want to try to keep them out of the way. But let's get in and take a peek and see what it looks like. So first off, I've got my quilt box on top. So it's pretty easy just to peek in because there's no bees really. It'll just open up my candy board. So if you take a peek in here, you can see that they've already started to eat the sugar board a little bit. That's a little bit concerning in that there's a few dead bees on top. Not a lot of activity. I'd like to see more than that. With this kind of look on my hive, I definitely am going to go in deeper and see if we've got some serious issues here. Okay, just looking in the top, you can see that there's not a lot going on. There's not a lot of bees. The cluster could be more towards the center, but I should definitely be seeing more traffic than this. So let's dig in a little bit deeper and see what the problem is. So I'm not seeing anything in there. That's really disappointing. I may have lost this hive. Let me dig in and see if I can find any more. It looks like my hive might have absconded. There's no bees in here. There's very little larvae. There's still quite a bit of honey in there, which is kind of interesting. It doesn't look like there's been a whole lot of robbing going on, so it's probably something that happened fairly recently. You can see I've still got quite a bit of capped honey in there, and the cells look pretty clean, but there's no bees in here. So I brought my hives inside so that the other bees wouldn't rob my hives and spread the disease or mites around, and it's very obvious what took my hive. This is all that, these few little girls were all that were left of my hive, and they are covered in mites. So that is how I lost my hive to the Varroa mites. If you ever wanted to know what mites look like, these are the Varroa mites that took over my hive. Look at those poor girls. So this is the Backyard Bee Builder signing out. Mistakes were made, and we all have losses sometimes, but they're never fun when they come around. But I think we will see what we can do to prevent this happening in the future, and we'll talk about that in some future videos. So we will see you next time.